doing the Detroit Lions roar, and we all know how that ended. But this is the Tiger edition of the Roar Live right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. You know the spiel. We're here to talk about Tigers baseball every week in this new 2025 season. And as you know, I'm a Tiger fan, but I don't know about this guy over here. I don't know how much of a Tiger fan he is, but he's always the antagonist. He's got the Yankee cap on, but that's okay. Yeah. He knows a lot about baseball. He's played it, and he's got his opinions that you know and love. And let's talk about the Tigers, Co.
Yeah, let's do. You know, it's that time of year. You know,
you gotta love it, right? You got spring training.
You gotta love it, man. The sound, the bats, the gloves, the balls, the dirt, the grass, everybody coming out. You know, former players, the new players, players. You know, they're fighting for positions, and I'm really interested to see how well the Tigers continue where they left off.
Sure.
I want to see. Now is the time. They're not the spark plugs anymore. They're not the kids who are just happy to scratch and claw into the playoffs. They're here now. They're a good team. I think from looking at last year, that was a heck of a run.
Oh, absolutely.
That was a heck of a run. I think they got the top. I'm going to say top 5. One of the top 5 managers in baseball.
Okay.
I like Hinch. I like him a lot.
I would agree with you on that.
I like him a lot. I think it's going to be a little more difficult this year. You know,
why do you say that central-wise?
Because
I mean, I don't think any of us have realistic goals of them winning the World Series this year.
No,
but to win the Central, I still think maybe the Royals could give them a run at it. Mm-hmm. You've seen how the Twins kind of collapsed at the end of the year last season.
Yep.
I don't see the White Sox, pulling, any punches and to be a legit contender in that Central. I mean, I definitely think they could win the Central.
I think they can. The White Sox they're already out. The season's over. Cleveland is always going to be a tough out for them.
Oh, you think Cleveland? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Cleveland's always going to be a tough out. The Tigers can win it, but here's the thing. No more of that 90-game in the hole start.
Sure.
They got to get out and win some games in April.
I agree.
They have to get out and win some games in April. And I'm a little concerned from what, I've been hearing. I think Veerling's hurt.
Veerling's hurt. Parker Meadows is out right now. They don't really have a center fielder, legit center fielder that can play for him right now. And from what I had read earlier today, Wenceel Perez is not out, but he's got some tightness, is either in his back or something like that. From what I read. So I mean, they're definitely going to have to be a team that. Is going to have to be creative. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you always see the Tigers somehow or another right before the spring training breaks grab a player. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that would be in a trade. I don't know who would be out there, if that's something they want to do, depending on, if Parker Meadows is going to be out for an extended period of time and Veerling.
Yeah.
But, an outfield was pretty solid for them last year.
Yeah.
Now has become the question mark.
Yeah. Green is a corner guy.
Right.
I don't want him in center. So Meadows is a speedster. He runs the ball down out there pretty good. Riley can play it, but I would prefer him on the corner.
Sure.
Because they had some defensive issues. They did last year. And they need also a third baseman.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up.
They need a third baseman.
I just heard that Javi Baez has been shifted over to third. here's a guy, though, that has not lived up to expectations since he's been here. Do you think he could be a solid replacement defensively wise at the third base position? He's a good fielder. That hasn't changed. He looks like he's coming back from hip surgery or whatever it is. So hopefully we get some production from Hobby. I'm not looking for an all-star kind of a deal, but it's nice to know that you could throw him down at the hot corner. I mean, I actually would like to see Jace Young take that position and run with it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Baez going over there, well, he's on the roster. You're stuck with him.
Sure.
Obviously.
He's hitting 263 right now in spring training.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's not, he's only had 19 at bats.
Okay. Listen.
But he does have a homer. He hasn't been homer.
Last year, he was the worst player in baseball.
I agree.
So here's my thing with that. I think this is what I would do. I would try it. I would try him at second, and I would put Torres at third.
Really?
That's what I would try. Now, Torres, that's a good pickup for you guys, but
he's playing very well. For
yeah,
him spring training, 318 batting average.
Yeah, Torres is gonna. Of
course, it's spring training.
Yeah, when he run, I don't put anything in spring training.
Okay.
But when he runs into the ball, he can be trouble. But I think that he's not a great defender. So I need somebody at third who's going to give me some RBIs. Your RBI guys are your first baseman and your third baseman. I would try him over there. He's a solid defender.
Do you see him going to more of a platoon at third?
Yeah, they're going to have to. Yeah.
You think it's going to be? I think what you're going to see is kind of musical chairs in that infield
It
and
is.
in the outfield. Actually.
It is. And see, that's the thing. I'm glad you said that because that's the problem. See, great baseball teams, they don't have that. They don't play musical chairs. You run Lou and Tram out there every day. You know what I mean?
But when's the last time you've seen a Lou and Tram?
Exactly.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying, though, is like when guys can play this, play that, play this, and they move all over, they don't get the feel of that position.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You knew you had Chet Lemon going out there in center. Gibson was in right. Henderson. Herndon, I'm sorry. Even when the Verlander years.
Sure.
That you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They had great players, and they had them at their positions. So now Hinch has got to do this. He's got to do that. He's got to do this. This guy's I got to feel him out. It's no rhythm. The good thing is that they have decent pitching.
Does Gleiber? You're a Yankee guy. He's coming over from the Yankees. Does he have experience at third base that you know?
I do not know in spring training. I don't know.
I kind of felt like when they got him, I thought that could have been a nice little spark plug for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm digging them moving Colt Keith over to first and to put Gleiber at second because Gleiber's on a one-year deal. Who knows if he'll come back next year?
Right.
And if he doesn't come back, you're looking at Colt Keith sliding back over to second base next year. Don't you think that, in my opinion, don't you think that would hinder his development as coming into his second year as a full-time major leaguer?
Yeah, because first and second is two different positions.
Right.
That's the thing that's the thing about Hinch. He's got to figure this out. That's it. Like, I think if you can catch, you can play second and third. So I would try it. I would try anything. At one point they were trying Lou at third because he had the arm. You know what I mean? I would try Gleyber. I would try Torres over at third. I would. And I like, if you got to play him, I would like him at second, Baez. I would just try it. I would just try it. But that's going to be the interesting thing, chemistry and getting used to guys. Like you said, Lou, even when Guillen, they had those days when the Tigers were going to World Series, that roster, they ran those same guys out. And they were successful. Not to mention they had a Cy Young at every spot in rotation.
But looking at that, though, how much has the game changed since they made their run those few years into the World Series, even though they didn't win.
Yeah.
How much has the game changed? Are we seeing a professional baseball game that's changed? Obviously, it's changed dramatically since the 80s, in regards to pitching. But are we seeing it change in regards to everyday players?
Yes, absolutely. Because now everything is a business. Everything is iPad. Everything is analytics. Everything is, if I can get the bat to the ball, that, the percentages say this guy hits. So it's all changed. It's all changed. Everybody now is, they're their own brands. So yes, it's changed dramatically. Like, you had even the 2006, even those guys, the Verlanders and the Cabrera, those guys were kind of throwbackish. They were just baseball players. Now it's there's all types of different machines. There's all type of different equipment. There's all type of arm angles, bat angles, swing angles. Everything is analytical. And baseball is just one thing Torkelson said over the summer. Over the season, he said, coming up this season, spring training, he said, which was right. He said, I'm just going to go out and hit the ball. I'm going to go out and just try to hit the ball. Where the Tigers presented him with a sound thing, this thing, a technical thing, a this thing, and it can become too much for a player.
Sure. Speaking of Torkelson,
Yeah.
I know we've had our debates over
Yeah.
Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah.
He's actually playing pretty well right now in spring training. Looks like he's kind of found his stride a little bit, his swing, so to speak. Here's a guy that definitely needs to step up, so to speak, because, a lot of people even still don't think that he might not make the roster. I kind of feel he can. Mm-hmm. Here's a guy, though, that, has a lot to prove. Mm-hmm. And, he's a guy that, a player that can play first, mm-hmm. but he's also a player that came out of college playing third. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think his chances of him maybe sliding if he keeps hitting? Mm-hmm. There's a guy. Here's a home run hitter, so to speak. Mm-hmm. When he, in his first year. Mm-hmm. Here's a guy that put those RBIs on the board for you. Mm-hmm. Do you think him not playing third base, probably since the minor leagues, since they moved him to first, do you think that it would be an easy adjustment to him to go to third if he's hitting the ball well? Because if he's hitting the ball well, they're not gonna throw him in DH. Mm-hmm. I can't see him platooning with Kerry Carpenter, mm-hmm. because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they like Carpenter for right field. Mm-hmm. So, DH could be a good spot for him. Yeah. But I thought he was a pretty solid fielder at first.
I would DH him. I would DH him. I would
just let him hit.
I would let him hit for now. I think he deserves. And this is his make or break. This is it.
Okay.
For Torkelson. Obviously, the kid has talent. He was number one overall pick. Okay, so try him at third. Try him at first. I definitely would give him an opportunity. I wouldn't start him until I would bring him on the team and let him concentrate on hitting. I would DH him to start.
Okay.
He's a solid first baseman. He's an average first baseman.
So what would you do then with last year? They used Kerry Carpenter, more of a platoon kind of a guy.
Yeah.
You didn't really see him too much on the field.
No. Was he hurt a lot? He was hurt
well,
a little bit.
He was up and down, but he showed flashes. He kind of reminds me of Kirk Gibson a little bit.
Yeah.
In it's home run or bust kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And but I feel like you're not going to be able to get 160 some games, I don't think, out of Kerry Carpenter in right field.
Yeah.
I'm not sure in regards to his fielding percentage.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a butcher out in the field by no means.
No.
But do you think if Torkelson starts to hit, you almost would want to? I know what you're saying with the DH, but what about it kind of jams everything up.
Yeah. Well, you want a problem. You want a good problem. If everybody's hitting, that's the problem you want. Let's go back to Inge.
Okay.
Inge went from short to try him at third. I would actually go to the kid and say, hey, listen, the expectations for you were through the roof. And he shows flashes of hitting the ball out of the park and RBIs. I would go up to him and say, hey, what do you feel comfortable doing? I think it's a brand new season. It's a fresh start. I think he deserves an opportunity. So whether it be first base or third base, they have to find a third baseman, because it's just going to be Ola over there. You got to shore up your defense.
Sure.
The Tigers have to play defense. They have to play better defense. They have to run the bases better. I would go up to the kid and ask him, how comfortable do you feel? Which position? Give him the opportunity, put it all in his plate, and see where it goes. Because I think they can be good if he hits, but he's got to hit. This is it. This is make or break.
Well, with them being kind of undecided, so to speak, with the shortstop position, do you feel like that could cause a mess down the road? Not having, like you were saying, putting the same guys out there.
Yeah.
In regards to, Torres, obviously that's their second baseman,
Mm-hmm.
but. Do you think Javi Baez could have a resurgence? What do you think?
At this point, you don't have a choice. It's all mental now. Baseball is a mental sport. It's on Javi. Is he locked in? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Is he going to be the leader that they expected him to be? Is he going to lock in and not swing at balls that are 30 feet outside? He has to lock in mentally. You have no choice now. You're paying him a boatload of money, obviously. You got to run him back out there. You have to. You can't just sit and pay a guy. You can't pay a guy and have him sit that amount of money. So it's up to him. This is his make or break here, too. So the shortstop, again, there's no one position where you can say, you know what? That's it, and that's Scooble. That's the only position you can say, and the pitching staff, because everybody else is kind of an all over. It's kind of a crapshoot right now. Like I said, they got to get better defensively, in order to come out to a hot start, play better defense, run the bases better, and those players who haven't done what they're supposed to do in the past, Torkels and they have to produce. I think they just make them better if they do.
Sure.
They were expecting both of those guys, big things. And if Torque can hit 265.
And give you 30 homers?
He may give me 22 homers.
Okay. What do you think about, it just seems to me like when you look at the roster, they have a lot of plug-and-play guys.
They do.
That can play multiple positions.
They do.
Does that hurt you, or does that help you more? What do you think?
Injury-wise, it helps. From an injury standpoint, it does.
But psyche-wise, not knowing, hey, today I might be at short.
No.
Tomorrow I might be at third. You think that makes a difference?
It makes a difference. It's hard to prepare.
Okay.
It's hard to prepare from short to third. It's hard to prepare from first to second. Like Keith, it's just difficult. You know what I mean? The ball comes off the bat, different angles. You have to make different plays. There's double play depth. It's a lot to it. That's why I said the teams that usually, win divisions and win championships have their guys in place. They just do. That's just kind of how it goes. Now, the Tigers are young, and their division is not the greatest. So, and then Hinch is going to win you some games himself. He's just that good to me. And that pitching staff, you got to win with Scooble.
Sure.
Flaherty's back, right?
Yeah.
Scooble's probably arguably the best pitcher in baseball, I think. Who?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got that going for you. You got your staff going. Bullpen, but that everyday lineup and platooning and different playing left and playing, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's the trouble that I see, them having. They need to get out to a hard start because they will not climb out of a hole like that again this year. There's no way. It just won't happen.
You are watching The Roar Live right here on My Michigan Television, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. Right there is a QR code to get in on the conversation. This is the Tiger edition of the Roar Live. We're so glad to be back with you, talking baseball. We'll be here every week, and looking forward to just 21 days until opening day.
Who they got? Where they open? They open in L.A. or
L.A.?
They open out west or
Yes.
Chicago? Is it Chicago?
Oh, I believe it's L.A. I know I probably should have had this up here, but yeah. But let me ask you this. So we got
They
21
got some good
days
trivia too
to
for
come
Tigers.
in.
Yeah.
To open it. What are, as a manager, what are you really looking for rotation-wise? Kenta Maeda, you know, you don't know what you're going to get from him, but right now you're pretty solid in your 1-2 spot, and this might be the most solid they've been 1-2 since I'm going to go
Verlander,
back.
Scherzer?
Yeah, you can even go back to Morris Petrie.
Yeah. Was it Morris Petrie? Was Petrie second?
I think so.
Was Petrie Wilcox?
I thought it was Morris Petrie Wilcox.
Yeah.
And then would you have Berenguer there for a while?
Bear? Rosema?
Rosema.
Was Rosema been a relief?
Rosema
Okay,
was
so
kind of- yeah.
so you got Scooble and Flaherty, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
do you think
Everything
you
else
got
is-
you got Reese Olson? They're
Yep.
thinking Reese Olson as a third, but it makes you know more about the goings on of the baseball world more than I do in regards to how they do things. But do you think that they'll run a relief day like they did before?
What do you mean?
You know how last year they kind of had I mean, I know it was more for injuries. I know they're giving Jackson Jobe a shot at earning a spot in the rotation.
Well, yeah, this is it for him. This is it. Either he's going to be a rotation guy or not.
So do you feel like they'll still go to a throw-in day, so to speak, where you have a guy come in and pitch the first inning, second inning, somebody comes in next? It worked for him last year.
Yeah. I don't think to start.
Okay.
I don't think to start with. I think if, like I said, Hinch is so good, he'll figure it out. I don't think to start with they will, because I think what you want to do from a managerial standpoint is you want to establish your front four.
Sure.
At least.
Okay.
You want to get that established. Then, like I said, you got 1 and 2. You got 1 and 2. But I think you want to get that first, like I said, April is kind of the let's see what's going on type month.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The good thing about baseball is 162 games, but I think you want to establish your front four first. You want to get back to what winning is like without you want to you don't want to put too much strain on everybody. So you want to know that you got your first 2 guys, somebody can come in at third anchor and that fourth and still give you at least 5 innings. At least 5. Nowadays it's 5, So in the beginning, no. But if you have to go to that, whatever it takes, because that was the mentality for those guys last year. Whatever it takes, whoever it takes, to eat up some innings, we'll do it. So Hinch, like I said, you can't question, Hinch. He's working with, a bunch of young folks, and he's doing a great job with that. So he'll figure that out. But I think in the beginning, you want to establish your front four right off the rip. You want to know what you got. Not that, here, there. You don't want to do that.
If things go the right way, though, they can have a pretty electric starting rotation. Scooble's probably the best there is right now.
Oh, yeah.
Flaherty's shown that he's back on the right track.
Yep.
They're going to have to. They start the home. They start in L.A. That's going to be a test to take on the defending champs.
Well, yeah, and they will probably win again. They'll win the World Series again. They have 10 pitchers.
Yeah. But I'll tell you though.
But that's a good start for the Tigers.
It is.
It's a great start. I like that.
it
Go
definitely
right in, get right into the trenches.
Exactly.
See what you make. Hey, I put Scooble up against any lineup. Any lineup. Great pitching will always be, it's hard to hit great pitchers.
Where do you think the big question marks lie on this team?
Third base,
Okay.
Torque,
Javi.
and your catcher. I want to see some productivity, some more product out of your catching. Like the catcher he controls the whole show. You know what I mean? Like infield, the dugout. Most catchers are leaders. I want to see catching, Torque. I people say you don't like Torque. No, I just think that he, as high as he was drafted, there's something there, and he's just got to do it. People like him. He's a home. They like him here in Detroit. But yeah, I want to see him. I want to see them solidify the third base spot, whoever it may be, and play better defense and not make so many mental mistakes. I would like the Tigers. I wish they could get, one more, like a Martinez or something like that they could have back, like another star bat in the lineup. I really do. Because that helps. Somebody that they can, when, the game's on the line or that person's up, the opposing team fears that. There's no fear in the Tigers lineup. It's just no fear. Like I said, Torres can run into one every now and then, but he's an inconsistent hitter. So there's no, and I don't think you really see that in baseball anyway. Somebody just coming up there, just Tony Gwynn themselves and George Brett themselves. You know what I mean? So I would like to see them get another bat. Like I said, Hinch knows what he's doing, and he's got, they got a good pitching staff that they can get even better. That's crazy. Scooble can get even better. So I would like to see, I want to see Baez bounce. It makes for better baseball.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It makes for better baseball for watch. The Central, everybody's going to be clawing into that Central, except the White Sox. It's going to be a three-man race: Twins, Tigers, and Cleveland. Twins, Tigers, yeah. So yeah, I just think that third base spot, center field, people getting into positions where they are comfortable at playing, and I think will make a better baseball team for those guys.
Well, you've said it before. In order to build a good team, you got to be solid up the middle.
Yes.
With them having to kind of search for a center fielder right now. Now, I mean, once Parker Meadows gets back, I think, that pretty much solidifies center field. But how do you think Baez and Torres would work together? I mean, they're both been around the league a little bit.
There you go.
They both came from, obviously Torres from the Yankees.
Yeah, there you go. But slick fielder, Baez, he's slick. The experience will help them. Playing in the league, playing for the Yankees, playing for the Cubs. They know how to win. That's going to help. I think Torres can be a leader. Up the middle, again, it depends on how Baez, how well he's locked in. Torres is going to be solid. He's solid. He can, turning the double play. I used to, when Lou and Tram was, I keep going back to Lou, but the double, that solidified, that middle, Parrish, Lemon, that's what you want. That hasn't changed. Sure. See, people always want, analytics. No, that hasn't changed. Your middle and that ace, when Scooble, he knows he has those two behind him making plays, and the center field and the catcher, that's going to be very important. I think they can work together. I'm not going to just start trashing Baez. I'm not going to do it. He's got to play himself out of this, period. He's got to play himself out. If he can just hit 260, he can give us 20 home runs, 23 home runs. He's capable of it. He's just got to be mentally locked in, and he's got to be a better leader. And Hinch will get them together.
Going back to the rotation.
Yeah.
I know you were saying you think they should lock in tight, so to speak, in the beginning of the season. But don't you think it might be beneficial to kind of work those reliever arms out, especially if you got a guy like Scooble and Flaherty that can give you 6 innings or more if necessary?
Well, that's the question. How far do you want those guys? Those guys can go 7, 8. Scooble can go 9. He's just that good. So it depends on how much work, and it's early.
Sure.
See, I hate the weather. Good thing they start in L.A., but it's early. And they have to come back here. It's going to be cold. It just depends on, how your staff is feeling, how your arms are feeling, how's everybody feeling? Because now you come from Florida, then you come back here. You know, the weather plays a lot into it. So I'm as much for. I'm not a big pitch count guy. So pitch as long as you feel good. That's what I say. As long as you're getting people out and you're not putting yourself in tough situations and you're not walking folks, it's up, and you keep going. You know, again, Hinch is smart enough to know that. But again, I would say in the beginning, start off with your ace. Start off with seeing what you got. Don't overwork them. You know, it's like I said, it's still early. Don't overwork them. You got time, but you don't have a lot of time. And I say that because you don't want to, like last year we thought the season was over. I did. Sure. You don't want to get into that.
I think everybody.
Yeah. So pitch, you pitch to win. Pitch to win. Go out there, give 110%. Just don't overwork yourself. A lot of folks get into situations where they overwork. They overthrow. Know your limitations. But I think they should establish themselves as a rotation. I really do.
So looking at the how they start in L.A. against the Dodgers, then they move over to Seattle to take on the Mariners.
Seattle.
They come back home to take on the White Sox.
That's a sweep.
And then your Yankees come into town.
Yeah.
Let's take a look around the league.
Sure.
Let's go with the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Garrett Cole, Tommy John. Does that hinder your shot at trying to go back to the World Series?
Yeah, it's over.
You think it's over?
Yeah.
It's done deal?
Yeah. I like the kid from Atlanta they brought over. The Yankees will be viable. I mean, they're the Yankees. I think they're in the toughest division in baseball, if not the National League East. I don't know. They will be in the thick of it. They will. They may even get back to the divisional series. But without Cole, it's an arm. It's another arm. Pitching is so valuable in baseball. It's everything. It's like the quarterback. So yeah, it's a wash. Like I said, they'll win games. They might even win the East. But as far as World Series, the Dodgers are going to win the World Series again. That's just the way I feel about it. The deck is just too stacked. It's like, come on. You know what I mean? Like,
is there a dark horse team that you like?
Who I liked last year? I liked Baltimore last year. Of course, you got to look out for the Mets to get there. You mentioned Seattle earlier. Seattle's kind of always, but I like Baltimore last year. The Mets. You can never count out the Braves.
Sure.
Milwaukee's going to do what they do, get close, and then not do anything. Same thing with San Diego. And you never know with the Cardinals. I don't know I haven't really paid close attention to them, but I would say the Mets, with the addition of Soto, in the National League, American League, like I said, Baltimore, Tampa's always tough, and like I said, you got your Astros. Houston. I think Houston's one of those teams where you always have to be on alert for. And even Boston. Boston might surprise a lot of folks.
With the addition of Bregman?
Yeah.
Do you think, speaking of that, because we were going to talk off-season moves in what we've liked and what we haven't liked. Now, I love the Flaherty move, bringing Flaherty back. Yep. And obviously, he's a guy that wants to be here. Yeah. Or he wouldn't have signed back.
There you go.
But I'm actually glad they didn't get Bregman.
He didn't want to be here.
Well, he didn't want to be here, but I just feel like if you're going to pay somebody that kind of money, he needs to be a little younger.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm tired of these. I mean, I know
he was already
Detroit has to sign people for more money because this is not like your L.A. or New York kind of a deal.
Right.
But I'm just tired of these, I guess maybe, shell shock, so to speak, with when you look back over the past decade and so, where, Miggy's contract kind of was a cancer.
Yeah.
Victor Martinez's was bad.
Yeah. It was really bad. It was really bad.
So, I don't know. I just feel like I'm glad I would like to see him pick up somebody, maybe before spring training. But, you know, what kind of pitching right now, unless they have an injury,
Yeah.
I can't see them going out and getting a pitcher.
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of is small moves.
Yeah. Yeah. The Bregman, he was never going to come here. Like, Hinch is his guy. So, you know, he didn't even want to. And then he, like you said, he was primed out. He's out. He's past his prime.
Sure.
Why would you pay him, a guy that doesn't want to be here, who's going to probably leave, some type of opt-out, whatever he was going to do. He didn't want to be here, and then you're going to be looking all over again.
Right.
You know, hopefully the Tigers can get lucky and get somebody out of the system. You know what I mean? Some superstar out of the system. It can be done. Everything doesn't have to go out and, you know, get a big bat. You know, it doesn't always have to be that way. It helps, but it doesn't always have to be. I didn't think, like I said, I'm glad they didn't sign him. You know, he wanted a boatload of money, go to Boston. And if he came here anyway, he wasn't going to make a difference. It wasn't going to be that big of a difference. He was complaining about, you know, the length of the fences and things like that. So just that's a red flag. You know, the guy want to play baseball, you come no matter where you play. He didn't want to be here. So heck with it. Decent player, but not worth that money.
So you think Dodgers are the team to beat in baseball completely?
Absolutely.
I would agree with you on that.
It's just, again, they have all the pitchers. What, did everybody just go over there? All the pitchers just went over there?
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what, though? I guess it's a little disheartening when you look at Major League Baseball now. And you know, you hate to talk about the old days, but you look at it like a Toronto Blue Jays, who, you know, signed Scherzer, but you know, if they start to tank, you're looking at them trying to probably trade Guerrero, Bichette.
Yep.
So these are. It's almost like there's so much parity in baseball right now that really the only team to run away with anything, that could run away with everything, if everything, you know, they don't have injuries and stuff, is L.A. I mean, because, you know, you have a team that, when you look at the National League West, you have a team like the Padres who made a run, and now they seem to be dismantling.
Yep. Yep.
And then you have teams like the Tampa Bay Rays, who make a run, but, you know, even though you have parity, it's not parity because, you know, these smaller market teams, like even like KC, they just can't seem to sustain. They're always in the mix, but it's almost like they don't have the budget to put them over.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think it's kind of been, you know, something to me that is really put a damper on. I mean, because when you look at baseball, even back in the 80s, everybody was good. You didn't have too many bad teams.
Yeah.
Every team was battling every year.
Yeah.
You know, the Tigers, you know, the Royals.
Yeah. Now it's just
Orioles.
Yeah.
I mean, these teams were, it just seemed like there was more competition, so to speak.
Yeah, it was more competition. To me, it was better baseball. But what the Dodgers are doing and what the Yankees, they have. So, and this is the thing I say about the Tigers. Like, I would like to see, like, just their last World Series, they had stars.
Sure.
Even the Kansas City had stars on that team when they had their little run. And they had guys that were in their prime. You know, they weren't over the hill. Like the St. Louis's team, they had Pujols. They had stars. Now, that helps. That does help. And L.A. has really cornered. They've actually really cornered the market more so than even the Yankees, because what people forget about with the Yankees is that, yeah, back in the day, they would go buy a Winfield. You know, they would get a Reggie Jackson. But those Jeter was homegrown. You know, So it can work. You can find, you know what I mean? O'Neal, like they didn't have a Bernie Williams. Those guys weren't, those are, so it can still work the old way. It's just how good is your farm system, but LA's just cornered the market.
The Tigers,
they're buying everything.
The Tigers have the #1 farm system.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder
Yeah.
how this plays out if, obviously there's not any guys out there that I see the Tigers trading for. What do you think the chances are they rush some of these guys along, like a Max Clark or a McConaughey?
They were kind of talking about it last year, right? Like, yeah. So,
I mean, how good do you think that could be, though?
You know what?
When you rush them too quick.
Yeah. Now that can be. Now that's your management there.
Sure.
That's where the management comes in,
Right?
Because kids can play down here, but when they get up here, it's a total. So I think that a lot of that is time, like time. I don't think you can rush kids up. I don't think you can, unless he's just here, unless it's just off the charts,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's where you have to see it. That's the judgment. That's the risk. That's the gamble for general managers to see. Hey, you know what? This kid is special. He can go. He can go do this. Not everybody can do that. So it's a timing thing. You can't rush players along, and that's unfortunate because the seasons go and you're not competing or you're not winning, but it takes time. It just does. That's just one of those things. You cannot always hit on a Jahmyr Gibbs.
Sure.
Boom.
Right.
So it takes time. And the Tigers have a good farm system. It's just up to the general managing and the folks in Toledo and Hinch, and they have to all come together collectively and say, hey, you got to be very careful, like the whole Job thing. So you got to, the show is a whole lot different than Toledo. So you got to make sure that the kids are ready and primed to go. But unfortunately, it takes a little bit of time to do that. It takes time. You can't rush it.
Well, you are watching the Roar Live Tiger Edition right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. So glad you came along with us tonight.
Yep.
And we'll be here each and every week talking Tiger baseball. And we want to hear from you. That is the QR code to call into the show. We will have special guests, of course. This show's going to be kind of like the Roar Live with the Lions.
Yes.
Even though it won't be game day.
Right.
Every week, but we're going to have some special guests come in, and of course we want to hear from you, the viewers of the show.
Yeah.
We had such a great time doing the Lions. Before we let them go on this show, what are your predictions for the Tigers?
I think it's going to be a fun year.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm going to get down to the stadium this year. I want to see some live baseball. Some Tiger baseball. I think it's going to be fun. I can watch any baseball game. Doesn't matter who's playing. I'm going to keep my eye very, very close on what Hinch does and what the Tigers do. Watching Scooble pitch is like watching Steph. It's like watching Michael. It's like baseball-wise, it's like watching Jeter. It's one of those things where you need to embrace and watch and enjoy. Because this kid is something else, and he's a left-hander. That makes him even more dangerous. But I want to see how they respond mentally. I want to see how tough these kids are, and I think they will fight for the Central. I don't know if they're going to win it yet.
You think that fight's going to carry over from last year?
I think it is.
I think so.
I think the fight will carry over. Again, I'm giving you my prediction who's going to win the World Series. So even if the Tigers get there, the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. But I want to see how they respond. I really do. I want to see if this, because it's kind of like, was that just a fluke?
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking. Just like next year, and I'm going a little bit off, just like next year, the Pistons, are you going to go get a free agent to help the kid? So this year, are you a serious baseball team?
Sure.
Are people going to come in and say, "Oh, we got the Tigers. This ain't gonna be an easy 3-game series." That's what I want to see. I want to see the maturity, the maturation of this team, and see how well they do this year. And I think they will fight for the Central.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. My man Corey Tiez over here, he is the baseball guy, and we love talking Tiger baseball with you right here on the Roar Live. I'll tell you what, folks, it's spring training. We've got a lot to do and a lot to even investigate, because as the days go by, people will be cut and down to the minors.
Yep.
People, maybe even some people brought up from the minors.
Yep.
With injuries going on, maybe even a trade or two. I'm looking forward to it. This is I always get excited about opening spring training.
Yeah, spring training.
It's kind of like February's here, and summer's right around the corner.
It is. Summer's right around the corner. Baseball is I love all sports. I love them all. Baseball is the most beautiful game to me. It's a kid's game. It's a kid's game at heart, and the method that you play it, the catching, the throwing, the hitting, the eye contact you got to have. It's just a wonderful, beautiful game, and I'm looking forward to seeing some good baseball played. Of course, I'm always going to root for my Yankees, but I'm really interested to see, what the Tigers do, and I think they have a chance to, make get this. This is a baseball tradition. It's not like It's not like this is a losing organization. These guys been to World Series. They've won World Series. So hey, let's see. And like I said, they got a great leader in Hinch, so I'm excited, very excited.
Well, we want to thank you for coming along with us here today on the Roar Live, the Tigers edition. I'm Scotty William. Thank you so much. That's Corey Tiez. We'll be with you all season long.
Yes, sir.
Once a week, we'll have your Tiger coverage. And, of course, once a week, we'd love to hear from you. And you can find us on the Roar Live Facebook. Of course, you can also find us on your favorite podcasting platform, the Cohen Bro Opinion Show. We'll be doing a show from here live. We've been talking about it.
We got Tiger Trivia, too? We're going to be doing that?
We'll be doing Tiger Trivia.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot like how much fun we had with the Lions.
Yeah.
It'll just be that way with the Tigers.
Yeah.
I would love to have this 162 games,
Absolutely.
but it is what it is, man. That's a lot of baseball.
A lot of baseball.
But we'll see you next time on the Roar Live. Right here on My Michigan TV, YouTube, Facebook, and beyond. We'll see you next time.
See you next time, folks.